Good evening, all of you. My name is Rishi here. In today's class, I'm going to show you how can we develop a GUI application for registration form and login form together, and how can we connect that with the MySQL database. Okay. So in today's class, I'm going to show you how in a single home page, we can access registration form as well as login form. And how can we check whether a person after registering is set to be login or not? Okay, so I welcome you to this tutorial series of Python GUI concept. Okay, today we are going to see the concept of registration and login using the tkinter in Python. Okay, so let's get started with that. First, let me show you how the model will be there. Okay, just let's draw the diagram first. Let's assume that this is the home page. Okay, so on this home page, we have two buttons, register button and we have user button. Okay, there are two buttons on this page. Okay, one is for register and one is for user. Okay, sorry, wait a minute. I did a mistake there. The first button is register and the second button is login. Very sorry, I just got confused. Yeah. So first button will be register, second will be login. Okay, and this is our home page. Now, the thing is, when I just click on the register button, I should be getting access to a new page. I should be getting access to a new page. Okay, same for the login also. Okay, so in this register, I'll be taking some fields like username, password, email. Okay, I think three are more than enough. We'll be taking username, password, and email. And apart from that, I'll be having one register button. I'll be having one register button. Okay, and this will be your registration page. Now, next is our login page. Okay, in the login page, we'll be having only two fields, like all of you are aware of this, username and password. These are the two fields we'll be having. Along with that, we'll be having one button with the name login. Okay, so this will be a login button. In each and every page, I'll be giving certain amount of entry boxes, okay, to write all the data. Now, this is all about the front end part. Okay, on the home page, if you click on the register button, it will take you to the registration page. If you click on the login button, it will take you to the login page. Now, the main thing is, whatever data I'm entering in registration page, whatever username, password, email I'm giving should be stored, okay, should be stored into a database containing two tables, okay, one table for login, one table for registration. We'll be taking one table for login and one table for registration. So right now, this is my registration table and this will be my login table. Okay, this will be my registration table in database and this will be the login table. Clear? Okay, so whenever I'm inserting a username, password, and email into my registration form, and once I click on the register button, this data should be collected and should be stored into this database table. Now, at the time of login, whatever username and password I'm giving here, okay, whatever username and password I'm giving here, before storing into the login table, this username and password, before storing it into the login table, we need to check whether this is present in the registration table or not. Whether the same username and password which user has entered has already been there in the registration table or not. If it is there, then only it should be taken and stored into the login table. Okay, if it is not there, the data should not be taken. Okay, so we'll be discussing this concept using the tkinter application, okay, or tkinter module in Python. So let's get started with this. Let me take you to my PyCharm screen. Right. So I think my PyCharm screen is visible here. Okay. So first of all, I'll be like showing you how to use tkinter. Okay. So basically all of you are aware of it. We should be writing what from tkinter import star. from tkinter import star. Next, I'll be writing here root equals to capital T and small k. We're taking root equals to capital T and small k. And next, I'll be writing root dot main loop. Root dot main loop. So basically, we are importing tkinter module to work with GUI applications. We are creating a new page with the help of this tk function, and the page variable is root. With the help of the root dot main loop, I'm able to access that page. If you right click and run it, you can see a small window will be coming or a small page will be opening. Okay, this will be our home page. We can just resize it and we can change the colors and all. That's not a big deal. See, now I'm going to work with the multiple window concept. Okay, I'm going to work with the multiple window concept. But before that, it is very important to understand how can we connect our GUI with MySQL. Okay, how can we connect GUI with MySQL? For that, I'm going to use MySQL connector. MySQL connector. I think this is not installed, so you need to install it. See. So how to install? I'll just take you through it. Okay, see. So in the PyCharm only, on the top, you have an option file. In PyCharm, at the top, you have an option file. In that, you have an option called settings. Okay, just click on the settings so that a new window pops up. Here, you'll be selecting one option called project. Okay, there will be one option for project. In this, we'll be having another option as Python interpreter. Okay, in the project, we'll be having an option called Python interpreter. Just click on that. There will be a table sort of thing opening here. Okay, so these are the plugins I'm using right now. Okay, these are the plugins I'm using right now. Okay, but I want to install one more plugin to connect SQL with Python. Okay, so how can I do it? See, on the right side, you can see one plus sign or a plus icon on the right side. Okay, so just click on the plus sign. You can see one more page is coming. And here I'll be writing my package name, that is MySQL hyphen connector. MySQL hyphen connector. So if you type the whole name, you can see automatically that is selecting one of the MySQL hyphen connector. Now what you should do, you'll be finding an option here at the below. You'll be finding an option called install package. Just select the package and click on install package. Okay, select the package and click on install package. Make sure that at the time of installing, internet is connected in your system. Okay, there is an internet connectivity with your system, or else the package may not install. Okay, so we have an error here. Okay, just wait a minute. Let me solve this. Just give me a minute. I'll get back to this. Okay, so you can see here, like I've just typed MySQL connector. I selected that and I've installed the package. And you can see one green color message is coming. Package MySQL connector are installed successfully. Okay, the next thing what you should do is after installing MySQL connector, you should be installing this connector also, MySQL connector Python. Okay, select that and click on install package again. So this will take some time to install the package. Yeah, so it's taking some time. Once it is done, we'll come back. Okay, so now we have installed that both the connector successfully. Okay, so I'll come back to the program and we'll write here import MySQL.connector. So the connector which I've installed right now should be called here. Okay, now what you should do is I'll be using the class concept here, oops concept, because I'm working with multiple window. I'll write here class user. Okay, let's take the class name as user. So for now, we'll come down and create the object for the class. We'll take object name as obj. And what is the class name? User. I'm sending my root inside the user class. Okay, now inside this class, I'll be taking on by default constructor with the name init constructor. Okay, already are aware of this. We'll take init constructor and we'll call the parameter as root. We'll call the parameter as root and we'll write here self dot root equals to root. So we are assigning root as self dot root. Instead of using root everywhere, I'll be using self dot root. Now I'll be writing self dot root dot title. I'm writing here title as home page. So if you run the program, you can see you'll be getting the title as home page. Okay, if I resize it, see, you'll be getting home page. Okay, now I want to set the particular geometry of the box. So I'll write self dot root dot geometry. Okay, so we'll call here 200 width and 200 height. That is more than enough because the application is quite small. It's becoming more small. We'll take here self dot, yeah, 400 into 400. Right. Okay, so we have the size of the window as 400 width and 400 height. Now I want to create two buttons here, register and login. This is my home page. I want to create two buttons, register and login. Okay, so I'll be writing here register underscore button, as I'll take a variable name as register underscore button, and I'll call which attribute? Button attribute. Which attribute? Button attribute. In this, I'll be calling what? Self dot root, because my last destination is what? Self dot root. Text equals to what should be the button name? Register. Okay, now we'll just place it. Register underscore button dot place, where x equals to, let's take 100, and y equals to, let's take 60. Check the result. Okay, so it might be quite in between. It will be okay. So take in between here, we'll take 150. I will increase the y-axis to 100. Run it. Correct. So we have the register button here. Okay, now down to it, I'll be creating one more button called login button. So I'll write login underscore button equals to which attribute? Button attribute. You're sending it where? To self dot root, nothing but your home page, where text of the button is what? Login. I'll be writing here login underscore button dot place, x equals to 150 comma y equals to 150. Check the output. You can see both are coming up and down. Okay, but if you want, you can give some more space for the login button. You can just take it a little bit more down. Okay, so we can write here instead of 150, we can take 200. Login register. If you want, on the top, we can keep the heading also home page. Inside the window, you can keep the heading as home page. It's up to you. If you want, you can keep here. Just take a variable title equals to which attribute? Label attribute. Because if you want to insert any text in the window, you'll be using label attribute. Label equals to self dot root. You want to send inside the main page, that is self dot root. Text equals to welcome to home page. Welcome to home page. Now we can write here font, that should be bold type, and it should be size of 15. That is more than enough. Now we can write title dot pack, because pack will always close the text always on the top side. So I want my heading on the top, so I'm using pack, that is displaying welcome to home page. Now my main intention is what? Register and login should be working properly fine. Means when I click on the register button, I should be opening a separate page. If I click on the login button, I should be opening a separate page. Now how to work with them? See. So I'll be taking one method that should be down to the constructor. Okay, the constructor alignment should be properly aligned to this method. Okay, def register underscore page is the method name. Okay, in this I'll take a variable window equals to capital T and small k. So basically with the help of this tk function, I'm creating one more page with the variable window. Okay, now this register underscore page, that is a method name, should be passed as the command for this register underscore button present on the home page. How can we do it? At the end, we'll write here comma command equals to self dot register underscore page. Okay, so if you right click and run the program now, see. Once you click on the register button, a new page will open. Okay, now let's resize it and all. We'll write here window dot title. We'll write registration page. We'll write next window dot geometry. Okay, that is 300 into 300, or else you can take 400 by 400, not an issue. Okay, so let's run it and check it. Run the program. Just click on the registration page and you can see there is no a new page popping out with the title registration page and the size of 400 with 400 height. Now let's quickly enter the fields into the registration page. Okay, so I'll be taking here username underscore label equals to label attribute. You want to send it to which location? Window, because window variable is denoting registration page. So I'll write there window. And what should be the text? Text should be user name. Text should be username. Okay, and we'll write here font equals to bold type, and it should be size of 20 is enough. Now we'll just pack it username underscore label dot place, where x will be 20 and y will be 40. Check it once. Click on the register button. Yeah. Okay, so we got the username text. In the same way, let's get password and email also. So right here, password underscore label equals to label attribute. And I'm writing here what? Window only. So I'll just copy paste this. That will save my time. Okay, I'm sending it to window and only the text will change. I want here to print what? Password. I'll write password. Font bold and the size is 20. I'll be writing here password underscore label dot place, where x equals to 20 and y equals to 80. Okay, now I'll take email underscore label equals to label attribute and I'll paste that again. I'm sending that email label to the window variable. That is something about representing my registration page, and I'll write here email ID. Okay, at the end, I'll write here email underscore label dot place. X equals to 20 and y equals to 120. Check the output once. Click on the registration button. See. So these are quite coming in a very clumsy format. They are coming in a very sticky format to each other. So what we'll do is we'll increase the y-axis. Instead of taking 80 as y-axis for the password label, I'll take it 150. And here, instead of taking 150, I'll take 230. Okay, so there we got a little bit more. We can just take here 130. Take 200. Clear. Okay, so now we have username, password, and email ID. Now we need to create what? Entry boxes. We need to create entry boxes. So quickly, let's create them also. We'll write here username underscore entry. Username underscore entry equals to which attribute? Entry attribute. Now by default, entry attribute will display the entry box on the home page, but my requirement is I need the entry box on the registration page. Registration page is represented by which variable? Window variable. I'll write window there, and I'll write here username underscore entry dot place, where x equals to 100 and y equals to 40. Let's check the placing. Is it correct or not? Okay, we need to increase the x-axis more. We'll take 150 and try it. Okay, it can be increased a little bit more. And we'll take here 45 as y-axis. Correct. Okay, now. So for password also I'll write password underscore entry equals to which attribute? Entry attribute. I'm sending it where? To the window. Password underscore entry dot place, where x equals to 180 and y equals to 135. Next is email underscore entry equals to which attribute? Entry attribute. I'm sending it where? To window. So email underscore entry dot place, where x equals to 180 and y equals to 205. Check the output. Okay, so you can observe now we're getting username, password, and email ID. Now at the end, I require one register button. I require one register button. Okay, so quickly create the registration button also. See, so right here, submit underscore register equals to button. Okay, where you want to send it to window. What should be the text of button? Register. Okay, now write here submit underscore register dot place where x equals to let's take 150 and y equals to 250. Run it. Click on the registration page. Okay. I think there are no doubts still here. The registration page is uh, made. Okay. Now we'll create the login page. Till now, login is also acting as a dummy button. We'll quickly create that also. Like we have taken separate method for register page, we'll take separate method for login page also. Make sure alignment should be proper. So I'll take def login underscore page. Now write here window one equals to tk. So the help of tk variable, I'm creating one more window. Okay, representing my window one, and I'll write here window one dot title. What should be the title? Login, login, sorry, login page. Next, window one dot geometry. We'll take here 400 into 400. So now what is the method name? Login underscore page. That is representing the login page data. We'll quickly connect this login underscore page with our button present on the home page. On home page, we created one login button, if you guys remember, right? So we'll pass the command there. So at the end, we'll write here command equals to self dot login page. Remove this parenthesis. So if you right click and run, okay, if you click on the login button, you can see a new page is opening out. If you click on register button, the registration page will come out. So like we have filled the registration page with some fields, in the same way we'll fill the login page with some fields. Okay, so how to do that? Come down to this login page method, and here already we have created geometry and all. We'll just take here username underscore label equals to which attribute? Label attribute. You're sending it where? To window one, where text is what? Text is username. Okay, and the font is what? Font is of bold type and the size is 20. Next, we are writing username underscore label dot place, where x equals to 20 and y equals to 45. Check the output. Username we have there. If you want, you can take a little bit down. We'll take here 70. Click on the login button. Okay. So now let's quickly create one more label for password also. So I'll type password underscore label equals to label attribute. We'll copy the data from the first label and we'll paste it here. Okay, I'm sending the label to the window one, that is my login page, and I'm writing the text as password. Okay, now we'll write here password underscore label dot place, where x equals to 20 and y equals to 140. Check it. Click on login. You're getting username and password. You need what? Entry boxes. Okay, so let's create the entry boxes also. Right here, login underscore username. I'm changing the box name. I'm changing the variable name. I'll say UI. Using which we attribute? Entry attribute. I'm sending it where? To the login page. I'm representing login page with a variable window one. Okay, now I'll write here login underscore username dot place, where x equals to let's take here 150 and y equals to 70. Check it once. Click on the login button. Okay, so you need to take it more. We'll take here 180. Okay, we got that. Okay, in the same way we'll create the entry box for password also. So I'll just copy this. I'll just change the variable name. This is login underscore password, and this is login underscore password. X equals to 180, Y equals to 140. So you can see now 2 entry boxes are there on the login page. One is for username, one is for password. Now we need to create what? Login button. So how to create the login button? I'll write here submit underscore login as the variable name. Using which attribute? Button attribute. You want to send it where? To window 1. Where text of the button is what? Login. Next we'll write submit underscore login dot place, where X equals to 150 and Y equals to 200. Check it. Okay, so by this the front end part is ready. Suppose I'm clicking on the registration page. This is the front end part. Now comes the connectivity part. Suppose I'm entering a username here. I'm entering Rishi123, password 12345, email, let's give rishi@gmail.com. So if I'm clicking on the register button, this data should be entered into the database. This data should be collected and entered into the database table. Okay, and display what? Registration done successfully. But right now, if I click on the login button, it's not displaying anything. It's acting as a dummy button. So first of all, before sending the data to the database, I require what? I require a database. Front end part is ready. We need to connect with the database. For that, I want a database. So I'll open MySQL, I'll type my password and I'll start creating the database. So the command to create the database is create database name. Let's take the database name as register underscore login. Okay, the database name is register underscore login. I'll be writing the next command, use register underscore login. So like I said, we need to create 2 tables inside this database, one for register table, second for login table. So with the help of this command, create table name. What is the table name? Register. Okay, I'm inserting columns like username. What is the first column we have? Username. What type of data it takes? Varchar, representing string type. Let's take here 100 characters of username. Next, what do we have? Password, the second column. It is taking what kind of data? Again, varchar. It is not compulsory that I may pass only numbers as password. I can pass text also. So I'm reading it as varchar type, taking at least 20 characters. And the last one is email. It is also what type? Varchar type. I'll be taking at least 100 character of email. And at the end, I'll be ending it with semicolon. Okay, so the help of this command create table register, okay, or with the help of the command create table, I'm creating a table register holding the columns like username, password and email. All are reading varchar type of data. We'll press enter and the table will be created. In the same way, I'll be creating one more table for login. So I'll type the same command create table, but I'll change the table name as login. We require what? Only username and password. So there is no use of this email column. We'll remove it. So with the help of the same command, I'm able to create the login table containing username and password as 2 columns, right? So now we have 2 tables created, register and login. So now what we'll do is we'll come back to our like PyCharm, and here what we'll do. Okay, what I'll do is I'll be taking one more method. Def insert underscore, sorry, we'll write here def register user. I'm taking one method with the name register user. I'm not creating any new window. I'm just calling this method for database part. So here what I'll do is I'll be using this MySQL.connector. I've imported on the top, right? I'll be using it here. Okay, so I'll be creating one variable mydb equals to mysql.connector.connect. In this, the first thing is what? Host. So I'll be passing the host as localhost because I'm running the database on the local server. So it's called as localhost. Next is what? Port number. By default, port number is 3306. Next comes user. Who is the user? Root is the user. Next comes password. Sir, what should be the password? You should be passing a database password. At the time of opening the MySQL, you're passing a password, right? You're giving a password to go inside the MySQL. The same password should be entered here. So in my case, the password is root. And the last one is database. And the last attribute is database. You should be mentioning a database name, which you have created in MySQL. So what is the database name? Register underscore login. Okay, so I'll just write here in string format register underscore login. You can copy paste from there. That's it. Okay, now in the next line, I'll be writing my cursor equals to mydb.cursor. So with the help of this cursor attribute, we're able to check whether whatever things we have passed are properly connecting or not. Okay, and whatever SQL commands are there, insert command, delete command, update command, is done by using this cursor method. I'm sending this to which variable? My cursor variable. Now, what I'll do is, first of all, I'll be going to the registration page. Okay, and I'll be taking all the data from the registration page and inserting into the database. So whatever data we're entering in the registration page is storing an entry box. Whatever username, whatever password, whatever email I'm giving is storing an entry box. So I'll be taking each and every entry box and I'll be storing into the MySQL database. Okay, so now how can I call this entry box from this method to this method? See, both are different methods. Register underscore page is different method. Register underscore user is different method. I want to call the entry box present in register underscore page into register underscore user. For that purpose, what I'll do is wherever the entry box is there, I'll be writing self. I'll be writing self dot. All of you are aware of this concept, self variable. It is used to access the variables from one method to another method. So wherever entry boxes are there, I'll write self dot. Self dot. Here also self dot email underscore entry. And here also self dot email underscore entry. Okay, now I can easily access this 3 entry boxes into any of the method. So now in this register underscore user, I'll take 3 variables. First is username, which is storing all the username from the entry box. So I'll write here self dot username underscore entry. What is entry box name? Username underscore entry dot get. Which method? Get method. So with the help of the get method, I'm able to retrieve the data from the entry box and store into which variable? Username variable. Now comes password. Password equals to self dot password underscore entry dot get. So I'll take that particular password from the entry box and store into the password variable. And last one is email equals to self dot email underscore entry dot get. That's it. So I've taken all my 3 entry boxes and store into separate variable. Now I'll be running this command, my cursor dot execute. My cursor dot execute. I'm calling my cursor variable. Like I said you, it is used to perform all the SQL activities. So my cursor dot execute. In this, I'll be writing which command? I'll be writing SQL insert command. Insert into table name. So I want to insert in which table? I want to insert all the data of registration form into register table. I want to insert all the data of registration form into register table. So I'll be writing here insert into register. Insert into register. What you want to insert? Values. How many values are there? 3. So keep 3 percentiles in the parenthesis. Keep 3 percentiles in parenthesis. You have 3 values now, sir. So keep 3 percentiles in parenthesis. At the end, keep a comma after the double quotes. In tuple format, what is the value of first what is the value of first percentile as username? What is the value of second percentile as password? What is the value of last percentile as email? Means the first percentile should be storing username, second percentile should be storing password, and the last one should be storing email. Now, after running this program, I'll be writing mydb.commit. Sorry, mydb.commit. So what's the meaning of mydb.commit? Permanently storing the data into table. Okay, now, so after storing the data, I want to display what? I want to display a message registered successfully. For that, I'll be importing the message box. Import tkinter.message box. Sorry. Import tkinter.message box as MSG. I'm using aliasing concept, that is MSG. Now, below, I'll be writing here after mydb.commit msg.showInfo. The first title will be what? Registration details. And the content will be what? Registered successfully. Registered successfully. Okay, now the ultimate thing is what this method, what is the method name? Register underscore user. This should be taken and this should be sent to the button present in the registration form. So we're representing button with this variable. Okay, at the end we'll write here command equals to self dot. Sir, what is the method name where we are inserting the data into the table register underscore user? We'll take that name and add it here. Self dot register underscore user. Clear? Okay, so let's run the program and check it. It works or not. So let me open the register page. Let me enter the username Rishi123, password 1234, and email rishi@gmail.com. Okay, now if you click on register, you can see it is successfully displaying what registered successfully. If I click on OK, now let me check whether this data what I'm entering here is going into MySQL or not. So go to MySQL, and what is the table name? Register. What is the table name? Register. So right here, select query. Which query? Select. Select star from register. Which table, sir? Register table. Semicolon. So if you observe all the data, okay, all the data from that particular form, if you see the data from the registration form has been collected and stored here. So in that way, you can connect with the registration form and MySQL database. Now, suppose I'm changing the data. I'm writing here Ramesh, password Ramesh123, email ramesh@yahoo.com. Now, if I click on register, it is also registering Ramesh details. Okay, let me check it here. I'll write the same query, select star from register. We got Ramesh details also. So in this way, we are able to submit the data from registration form to MySQL database. Now the main thing, sir, what about login? See here. Login is very easy. Okay, suppose I'm opening my login page. I'm opening my login page. So suppose I'm entering a username, Rishi123, and I'm giving a password 1234. So what is the role of the login page here? Whatever data I'm entering here, whatever username and password I'm entering here should be first checked. It is present in the register table or not. The same username and password is present in the columns of registration table or not. If they are present, then only I should be entering this data into login table. Then only the data should be going into the login table, or else you should not be going. Okay, so how to work with that? Observe very carefully. Okay, so now what I'll do is, for that purpose, for the login purpose, I'll create one more method, def user underscore login. User underscore login. Okay, here I'll be connecting with my database. So I require this connectivity part again. I'll just copy it and paste it. Okay, it did not copy. We'll copy this connectivity part and paste it here. Okay, now after pasting this, our next task is what? I should be checking whatever username password I'm entering for whom, for the login form. So we have a separate entry box for the login form. We have separate entry boxes for the login form, right? Representing by separate variables. Okay, these are separate variables representing registration form entry box. These are separate variables representing login form entry box. So here also I'll be writing below or behind them self.login underscore username. I'll be like only adding self variable there to the entry boxes so that I can call into the any method. Okay, now what I should do is, first of all, I should be writing here username 1 equals to which attribute. I should be calling that username from which entry box? Login underscore username entry box, which I've entered in the login form. So I'll write self.login underscore username dot get. So the particular username from the login form will be stored into the username 1 variable. I'll write here password 1 equals to self dot password underscore entry dot get. So I'm calling the password from the login box and storing into the variable. Now I'll be writing my cursor dot execute. I will not be writing insert query first. Don't do the mistake of writing insert query first. First I'll be writing which query? Select query. Select star from which table? Register. Select star from register where where username equals to percentile s and password equals to percentile s. Okay, select star from register where username equals to percentile s and password equals to percentile s. Means I'm calling only these two columns into my select query. I'm selecting all the data from the registration table where username is this and password is this. Okay, now at the end, after the comma, in the tuple format, what is the first percentile value? Username 1. Sorry, not in the string format. It is username 1. And second percentile value, password 1. So at the whatever username password I'm entering in login form, that will go and check in the registration table that is present or not. That's the meaning of this line. Okay, if that username and password is present, which I've entered in the login form, that will store in which variable? My cursor variable. I'll repeat again. Whatever username password I'm entering in login form will go and check the registration table with the help of the select query. If the username and password exist in the register table, that will store in which variable? My cursor variable. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll take one variable here, c equal to 0. I'll take one variable c equals to 0. Now I'll be using for loop concept for I in my cursor. Like I said, whatever data is there is storing where in my cursor variable. Okay, for I in my cursor means what? To check whether your username and password is present in my cursor or not. Basically, my cursor is taking all the username and password. It is taking all the usernames and password from that register table. And I variable is checking whether that login username and password is present in that my cursor or not. If present, C value will increment. If present C value was 0, it will increment and become 1. C value will increment and become 1. Okay, down to this for loop, we'll use if condition. If C greater than or equal to 1. If C greater than or equal to 1 means if C value is 1 or if it is greater than 1 means what? The person is a valid user. The person can log in. Okay, I'll repeat again. My cursor variable is taking all the data from the register table. Data means only username and password. Okay, why are we using I here? I is nothing but the particular username and password I'm passing for the login form. So if that username and password is present in my cursor, then C value will increment from 0 to 1. If C value is greater than or equal to 1, the person is said to be logged in person or else logged out person or else invalid person. So I'll be writing here msg.show info. If the person is logged in, you should be display what? Login form or login details. Okay, and display what? Logged in successfully. Logged in successfully. Okay, or else we're printing what? msg.show error. Login details is the title, and we'll print here logged out. Sorry, invalid user. Or else instead of writing logged in successfully, we'll write valid user. It will be easy to understand. One more thing, like I said, if the data, okay, if the login, if the username and password is matching with the register table, then what should happen? It should be inserted into the login table. Okay, the username and password should be inserted into login table. So write in this way. My cursor, will call again my cursor dot execute. My cursor dot execute. We'll write here insert query. Insert into what is the table name? Login. What do you want to insert? Values. How many values? 2 values. Okay, what are the 2 values? Username 1 and password 1. And at the end, we'll write here mydb.commit. That's it. Okay, if you want, you can just copy this message box and paste it after this. Clear? That is very simple concept. Okay, so my cursor is responsible to take all the data from that registration table. And I variable is responsible to check whether the username password entered in the login form is there in that my cursor or not. If their C value will increment and become 1. If it is becoming 1, then what will happen? The username password will be entering into the login table and display what? Valid user. If C value is 0, when will C value be 0? When there is no data present in the registration form. So display what? Invalid user. So that is a simple program of GUI of registration and login. Okay, so now this method should be connected with the login button in the login form. Okay, so what is the method name? User underscore login. We have a button here, submit underscore login. At the end, we'll write command equals to self dot user underscore login. Okay, so now right click and run the program. By this, our whole application is ready. So already we have 2 persons details in the database. Okay, that is Rishi's and Ramesh. Suppose I'm clicking on login. I'm writing here the username as Vijay. I'm writing username as Vijay. I'm entering password as 12345. But if I click on login, there is nothing representing here. So basically you did a mistake. there is some mistake here. Let me check it. User object has no attribute password underscore entry. Which line it is? Password one. Password one means here only it is. Okay. This is login password. We did a mistake there. That is login password. Okay, I'll get the output now. See. So click on login and we'll write here Vijay. And I'm giving the password 12345. So can we see in the register table? In the register table, okay, only this part you observe, only this part. In this part, can you see any username as Vijay? No. Can you see password 12345? No. So if I click on login, what should be the output? Invalid login. See, invalid user. Okay. Suppose I'm giving my details, Rishi123, and I'm giving the password as 1234. Do we have a username with the representing Rishi123? Do we have password 1234? Obviously, yes. So once you click on login, valid user. Sir, if the user is valid, what will happen? In MySQL, we have a table. Select star from login. Which table? Login table. You can see Rishi's details will be added. If your login means if you're valid user only, your details will be added into login table. If you're invalid user, your details will not be added. Have a look. See, I'm entering here Raju. So Raju's details are not present in the registration table. Invalid user. If you run the SQL command again, you can see only Rishi's details. Okay, so this is the whole concept of login and register to connect with MySQL. So in this way, at the time of creating any real-time applications, if you want to connect with register and login form in GUI, this should be the concept. Okay, so I think you're clear with this. Okay, so by this we'll end today's class. Okay, so any doubts further you can keep in the comment box below. Okay, we'll stop today. Meet in the next class. Thank you, everyone.